Let's spend some time talking about diversity in organizations. We know that diversity, it happens in small and also large organizations, and they really operate in the following sectors of the economy. And we know again that all types of businesses contribute to the economy. We've got the private sector, and that's small businesses, businesses that are within your communities, but those contribute to actually the economy. We know that the manufacturing, that's automobiles, electronics. The service sector, that would be transportation, financial services, retail. And then government sector, that's the infrastructure of the country. And again, the nonprofit sector, they make a large contribution to society, but all contribute to the well-being and the economic health and the human welfare of the United States. But if we look at the challenges and opportunities for organizational behavior, there's certain things that we need to look at. We know that workers represent a large range of cultures, races, ethnic groups. We also know that there's increased uncertainty in the world. That's through maybe diseases that are coming in, viruses that are happening. It can also be through military, but there is instability that happens and uncertainty in the world. We also know that the typical employee is getting older. We know that the boomers in the world are going to be the largest population, and we know when they hit the retirement age, and they're just starting to hit, as one person told me, it's not a wave of them coming at us, but a tsunami. And we know that there's more women in the workplace, and that also produces some challenges. Global competition is also requiring its employees to become more flexible. And also, we've had historical loyalty bonds that many employees have had to their employers, and those are being severed. We can also respond to globalization and how we're dealing with it, because there are increased foreign assignments. Used to be, I would have students say, well, I've got to go out of town and I've got to go to maybe Cincinnati. But now it's, I'm going out of the country. I'll be in China, which that's not happening right now, but or different countries. But that is happening more and more. We know that we're working with people from different cultures. Here in the West Tennessee area, we have a large Japanese population because of the automobile industry that's happening. We also are coping with anti-capitalism backlash. That happens throughout the world. Sometimes it's happening here within our own country. We're also seeing the overseas movement of jobs to countries with lower cost labor. And then we're just having to manage people during uncertain and unstable economic times. And when we look at managing diversity, organizations are becoming more heterogeneous mix of people in terms of their gender, in terms of their age, their race, their ethnicity, even their sexual orientation. And this really causes controversy, and it's hard to manage, and how to know how to manage in the workplace. And we used to say that we were a melting pot, that the United States was, but now we're more of a spicy stew. So it's a lot of different people coming from a lot of different areas with a lot of different beliefs, values, and morals that are merging together in the workplace. So the implications with that and with diversity is that managers have to shift their philosophy from treating everyone alike to recognizing differences and responding to those differences in ways to ensure that employee retention happens and that greater productivity happens, while at the same time not discriminating, because you have to be extremely careful in that area that you're not accused of doing that. So let's talk about the global impact that happens, because we know that global competition is a leading force of change, and the change has accelerated, and with it come both opportunities and risk. So we know that all categories of employees are faced with increased pressure to increase their productivity because we're in the business of making business. They're also, they need to add value to the firm. And factors that make employment uncertain for people and companies that pursue cost-cutting strategies. So we know that corporate warfare happens. Also competition that's out there. But what we're looking at is challenges of organizational behavior during change in time. We know that happens. We know that there's increasing globalization of the organization's operating territory. That, guys, is not going to change. Again, even from the education sector, we've had tremendous change. We've moved global. Before, we're a small liberal arts college in West Tennessee, but even that has changed, and we have students literally all over the world. We know increasing diversity of the organizational workforce. You don't choose who you work next to. So again, the challenges that are going to be there, that are going to happen during these changing times, that we're going to have to adapt and go with that. And then just continuing demand for high levels of moral and ethical behavior at work. We've seen that over and over. And I tell people that's one of the reasons to choose a Christian college, because we infuse and bring ethics into our classes and try to bring that into all the coursework that we're using. And just to have a moment of civility to each other, and that's a trend, and that's something that's been lost along the way in a lot of cases for us, even here in the United States. This wraps up my lecture on diversity, and we'll continue on with more information on organizational behavior.